For today, Monday, January 6th, if you could just please rise and help us salute our beautiful flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And folks, if you could just continue to stand, I just want us to take a moment of silence to honor someone that we laid to rest today, Captain Stephen Monteiro. It's somewhat interesting that about 2 weeks ago, we were at another funeral of firefighter Albanese, but this morning, this afternoon, we had to lay to rest a great Brocktonian, Captain Monteiro, and for him, for his family at Local 144 and the entire city of Brockton, I just ask you to, for a moment of silence, to remember him. May he rest in eternal peace. Mr. Clerk, agenda item number 1, please.
Item 1, we have the reappointment of Mr. John O'Donnell of Rock Meadow Drive, Brockton, Mass. as Chairman of the Brockton Board of Assessors for a 3-year term ending in December 2027. Invited Mr. John O'Donnell.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
First of all, wish you all a happy new year. I just wanted to let you know, 5 years ago today, I became mayor of the city of Brockton, and I've had the honor and privilege to work for those 5 years with John O'Donnell. So when John's term came up, I didn't hesitate to reappoint him. He has been an integral part of not just the assessing department, but when we meet every other Wednesday, John assists us in terms of looking at what ties and what TIFs and, the assessment valuation, because again, we need to make sure that the taxes come in and our revenues are generated properly. So I wholeheartedly support this, and I humbly ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Donnell.
Good evening, councilors. I've enjoyed my 11 years on the board, and I appreciate another 3.
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
A motion has been properly made and second to recommend this appointment favorably to the entire City Council. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? It carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And best of luck. Before we go any further, I also heard from Councilman Minichiello, who has a prior family engagement, so he won't be here this evening. Number 2, sir.
Item 2, we have the appointment of Ms. Wadeza McCullough, Dr. MPH, CPH of 47 West Elm Street, Brockton, Mass. to serve on the Brockton Board of Health for a 3-year term or until the Health and Human Services Commissioner position is filled. Invited, Ms. Wadeza McCullough.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, again, I wholeheartedly support this. We recently had a resignation that you accepted of Dr. Craig Andrade, a PhD, and under the current makeup of the Board of Health, there needs to be an MD. Dr. Mary Brophy resigned. We do not have an MD. And now with Dr. Andrade, PhD, resigning, we only have one member, Mr. Fisk. So Ms. McCullough is a doctorate candidate. She was highly recommended by Dr. Eno Mondesser, who heads up the Board of Health. I also want to let you know that the Human Resources, led right now by Mr. Bob Fennessy, is actively looking for commissioner. We had 10 applicants. Many of those applicants do not meet the criteria for the Commissioner of Health that will happen, but Ms. McCullough is ready, willing, and able to assist. We have some matters that legal counsel, outside legal counsel is working on in terms of cigarettes and liquor. So, from the Board of Health's perspective, I think it would be extremely important to support this. Thank you.
Ma'am, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Anything would you like to say to the board, to the council?
Well, thank you all. Happy New Year and happy holidays. Thank you all for inviting me today. It will be an honor to serve on the Board of Health. I've been committed to public health and healthcare for the past 13 years. I'm born and raised in New York, so I am a New Yorker, but I moved here about 3 years ago during the pandemic, and I currently work for Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. I love the position. I love Brockton. I live right here in Brockton. I couldn't see myself living anywhere else, although I am I was not familiar with Massachusetts prior. I have no family here, so I moved here on a whim, hope and a prayer. But I've made Brockton my home, and I would be more than happy and willing to serve the residents in the community.
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
A motion has been properly made and second to recommend this appointment favorably to the entire city council. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Congratulations, ma'am, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Item 3, ordered in accordance with Section 2-110 of the ordinances of the City of Brockton, requesting a waiver of the city's residency requirement for grant writer Ms. Jane McNulty. Invited Ms. Jane McNulty, Mayor Robert F. Sullivan, and CFO Troy Clarkson.
Chairman, members of the committee, I wholeheartedly support Ms. Jane McNulty's request for a waiver. She's here tonight, but let me share a couple thoughts. She was born here in the City of Champions in Ward 3. Her mom and dad are Brocktonians. Her mom works for the school department. Her dad works for the city. Jane is carrying on the tradition of public service to the City of Brockton. And as you recall, when I asked you humbly to support the creation of 2 new grant writers, right? The city had no grant writers. If you remember, Paul Armano and Dr. Clarkson's office was kind of pinch hitting on that. I told you that if we found the right professional people that were productive and turning over every rock, that they would indeed pay for their own salary by the efforts that they do. And I can say that both Ms. McNulty, Jane, and her colleague Erin have done just that. They have been phenomenal. They have worked across every department here in the City of Brockton. They are 2 candidates, 2 employees that I feel are just really great additions to the team. So Jane doesn't live in Brockton. She's right over the border. But I do support this because, as we've said before, we want to retain employees that are productive and that want to make a difference for the City of Brockton, and Jane McNulty does that. So I humbly ask you for your support. We would be at a true detrimental impact if Jane left the city, and that's just a fact. So again, if you could support this, I would truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
On the motion.
A motion, on the motion?
On the motion.
Councilor Castro.
Thank you. Ms. McNulty, come forward. Did you have a statement you wanted to make to us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, counselors. Thank you so much for your time and consideration tonight, and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. My name is Jane McNulty. I'm a grant writer out at the Finance Department. I'm respectfully requesting your approval of a residency waiver that will allow me to continue serving Brockton tonight. Although I've lived in West Bridgewater with my family for the past 16 years, I've remained deeply connected to the Brockton community. I lived in Brockton for the first 7 years of my life. I attended the Tinkerbell Kindergarten and the Kennedy School. Over the years, I ran many road races at DW Park, worked at the Extended School Year program at Brockton High, and spent time with my family members who have been Brockton residents for my whole life. I live about half a mile away from the town line, and my personal, professional, and familial connections to the Brockton community have remained strong. However, I graduated college less than 2 years ago, and I live at home in West Bridgewater with my family, allowing me to save money to purchase a home in the future while also planning to further my education. I can't afford to relocate at this time. In my first year with the city, I've worked diligently to secure over $1.1 million in competitive grant funding for Brockton in areas such as substance use treatment, cybersecurity, council on aging programming, energy efficiency, and financial planning. These efforts are ongoing with over $11.5 million currently pending in competitive grant funding requests. I also played a major role in helping Brockton secure the largest yet community compact grant awarded by the state. I recently secured over $790K in funding from the Department of Public Health to address substance use in Brockton and submitted community project funding, formerly known as earmark requests, that totaled over $20.6 million and are still pending at this time. I'm looking forward to hearing back on the numerous funding opportunities that are pending right now, and I'm dedicated to bringing even more funding opportunities to Brockton in the future. Thank you again for your time. and thoughtful consideration of my request. I'm eager to continue contributing to Brockton's success and growth, and I appreciate your support in making that possible. Thank you again.
Ms. McNulty, you've been very productive in this past year, and the city has benefited. Good for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I will be supporting this. It was my pleasure to exchange messages with you. If you need anything, let any of us know. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just one more thing, I forgot to say it. As the mayor, I get a lot of grants emailed to me from the federal government through U.S. Conference of Mayors, and also locally on the state level from the MMA. And I send them to Troy, and I will tell you 9 out of 10 times he'll say to me, "Don't worry about it, Mayor. Jane and Aaron are already on that. They already have that information." So again, we have 2 dedicated employees that are so invaluable. And the values that was just stated by Ms. McNulty, those are hard numbers. That's going to help the City of Champions for generations. Thank you.
Councilor Tavares.
Thank you so much, actually, for doing all those tremendous and good work. I think we need more people like you. We don't care wherever we came from. We can wave anytime, and I deeply appreciate it. And I hope this year, you can do much better. Of course, you did so well, but I'm very appreciative and very proud.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
I'm
your
going to
kind
support
words.
that. Thank you.
You good? Councilor Renico.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Ms. Nolte, and of course, congratulations. I will vote in favor of this, but before I do so, I just want to, acknowledge something. Exactly where I am in 2018. There was a young man like you, obviously young woman. He was working for the planning department, and he was facing the same situation that you are facing. Just graduated from college, want to live at home and stuff like that. All he wanted at that time was an opportunity to live home, to save some money, and continue working for Brockton. And we did not, some of us did not do that. And when I received your email, the first thing that came to mind was this young man. And obviously, I read your background, your ability, and of course, some of this stuff that you've been doing for the city. I just want to be on the right side of history. And I would be remiss not to vote in favor of this. And obviously, I am not one of the biggest person in favor of waiving residency, but when I see your emails in terms of, some of the reason and where you live, obviously you live in Bridgewater, but you live in Brockton because it is so close. And it was sad to see that this young man left, the planning department in 2018 or 2019. And I'm glad to see that tonight this will not be, repeat. And obviously, with what you have been doing for the city and what you will continue to do for the city as a young person, and I think it is in the interest of the city of Brockton to give you this opportunity. And I want to make this clear though. Obviously, a certain position does, how do I put this, okay a waiver, but I also believe that certain position does not. And with that being said, somebody who's focused on grant, you can live anywhere. And what I mean by this is that as long as you are bringing money for the city, I'm okay with that. And this is exactly what you are doing. And with that being said, I would be more than happy to support your waiver, and I hope that you continue not just 700,000, but hopefully next year, a couple millions. With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'll leave it there. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Isaac.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. McNulty, you had me at Tinkerbell and Kennedy School, so, I'm a huge supporter of our residency, but I always say there are exceptions, and, once a Kennedy kid, always a Kennedy kid. So I will be supporting this, and I hope you stay with Brockton for a long time, and continue to bring in funds to us. So, and we're here for you for whatever you need. I know, the mayor's, you have his support, but you also have mine, and hopefully, if you ever need anything, please reach out to us. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? A motion has been properly made in second to recommend this item favorably to the entire City Council. All those in favor? All those opposed? It carries. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Continue to save
So
some
much.
money, buy a house, move into Brockton.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Good
you.
luck.
Number 4, sir.
Item 4, ordered that the City Council authorizes the acceptance and expenditure of the total grant funds in the amount of $6,500 from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security to the Brockton Police Department. Invited Police Chief Brenda Perez and/or her designee, CFO Troy Clarkson.
Welcome.
Good evening, councilors, Mr. President. Happy New Year. The address verification program provides funding for the police department to verify addresses for sex offenders, conduct investigations, and place offenders with valid addresses into violation if necessary. This award is for our sex offender registry coordinator to basically do that work. I had one of the councilors send me an email today looking to have some questions, so I'll answer them now, Councilor Nicastro. We have currently, as of the date of the report, 289 sex offenders, 70 of which are level 1. 11 are here in the city that only come to work here. Level 2, there's 130 as of the date of the report. This report fluctuates as people move in and out. 11 of those work also only in the city, and level 3, there are 83, with 6 of them working in the city.
Thank
Do you
you.
have any questions?
Thank you.
Any
Motion to recommend favorably.
Second.
no questions? Motion has been properly made and second to recommend this item favorably to the entire City Council. All those in favor? All those opposed? It carries.
Have a good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Number 5, sir.
Ordered that the following named sum be and the same is hereby transferred as the same was submitted by the mayor as follows. Transfer of $100,000 from certified free cash to Community Compact Grant Fund. Invited, Honorable Mayor Robert F. Sullivan, CFO Troy Clarkson.
Good evening, members of the committee, Mr. Chairman. What this is the Community Compact Agreement. You may recall in the midst of the deficit on the school side, we had constant conversation with Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, and the LG had talked about a potential mentorship type of agreement. She called it a big brother, big sister type of process. And then Secretary Gorkowitz from ANF supported that endeavor as well, and Sean Cronin from DOR has been invaluable. That's what the Community Compact Agreement is. We have just been, as Ms. McNulty and her efforts were unbelievable, but we've just been awarded one of the largest in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. With that being said, it was clearly explained to us that they wanted to see skin in the game from the city of Brockton. They didn't just want the state, the Commonwealth, to give us $150 grand. They wanted the city itself to step up. Troy can talk about some of the reasons why it's $100,000, but I will tell you that I support this wholeheartedly because we will continue to have conversations. ANF reached out to me today. We will have a meeting with them via Zoom on the 19th of this month. Secretary Gorkowitz will be on that call. Sean Cronin from DOR will be on that call as well. I'm not sure about the Lieutenant Governor, but this is a grant that is going to help not just the city and the schools, but it's going to help in terms of collective bargaining analysis, because you all know that the contracts are a lot of money over the term, and they're ballooning. So I support this tonight, but again, I would defer to Troy on the reason for the $100 grand itself, the value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Happy New Year to you and members of the council. I did send you my typical preview email. I did send it a little earlier than normal. It was on December 30th. So let me just recap that very quickly, because in that email I talked about some of the things that the mayor just mentioned, but also did define the scope that we intend to pursue. And it's a threefold scope: development of financial policies and formal workflow guidelines for both the city and the Brockton Public Schools, development of long-range budget and revenue projections for both the city and the Brockton Public Schools, and review of ongoing practices and obligations for collective bargaining agreements for the city and the Brockton Public Schools, and development of guidelines and strategies for negotiations. So this scope, although I wrote those words was developed in collaboration with the Department of Revenue, and that's why, as the mayor mentioned, when they awarded this largest ever community compact grant, they wanted to ensure that we had, using their terms, some skin in the game, and that we would collaborate on these important policies and workflows. And so this really will help us set a blueprint for moving forward to continued financial stability for both the city and the schools. So I think it's an exciting opportunity to have some outside experts take a look and offer some thoughts, not only on how we do our work, but looking forward, how we really continue to have financial stability. The source of the funding, as you can see, is certified free cash, and as you know, we did have some really good news on that front from the Commonwealth. And so our certified free cash was $21,463,000. We did ask you to appropriate some of that at a meeting last month, and so the net balance that we're asking you to transfer from tonight is just over $17,047,000. So this $100,000, although it is a significant number, certainly leaves plenty of funds there to address helping balance next year's budget and addressing any other needs that might arise. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilor Fowler.
This is probably just a technical question, but we have created a community compact grant fund in Munis, I take it, and so you want to transfer money from free cash to that grant fund?
Right.
Which office is going to administer this? Are you going to?
It'll be my office, yes.
It'll be your office, so you'll set the parameters for what we want done and the scope of the work and services to be rendered and.
Yes, so those three sentences that I just read to you are the general scope. Our grant writer, Jane McNulty, is assisting me in actually writing a specific scope that we'll then share with the Commonwealth, and when that's final, I will gladly share it with the council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. CFO. I'll be quick. I just was hoping that in addition to sharing that with the council, we could receive, some kind of routine update, as this, this stuff seems pretty much like, what we need to see done. So anything that could be relayed to us, I would appreciate.
I think that's a great idea. I would welcome the opportunity to come back, provide progress updates as this moves forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, Mr. Clarkson. Just a couple of questions. So is this a consultant that comes in, takes a look at what we're doing and provides recommendations, or is this some sort of training that's offered to employees to kind of bring them up to speed on best practices? How exactly is this operated?
I would say both, and I would say it in the plural. I would anticipate that we would hire consultants because the level of expertise required for those first two bullets of financial policies and long-range planning is very different than advice on collective bargaining strategies. So I would expect that we'd have a couple of different consultants come in, and then the results of that work would be to bring that to employees at both the city and the schools.
So kind of to take a look at what we're doing, develop best practices, and then it would be your responsibility to train employees on what those practices are.
Right. You might remember that a couple of years ago, under the leadership of Mayor Sullivan, the city actually, for the first time ever, enacted a set of financial policies. And that was an important first step, but they need to be more robust. We need to collaborate with the schools and have some policies that guide our work as the larger organization. So I think this is a really good opportunity, and the Commonwealth recognizes that, to take the time that we generally don't have because of all the other work that we do, to take a look at things from a 30,000-foot view and implement policies and strategies that can guide our work moving forward.
Does this require any reports back to the Commonwealth on status on what exactly is being developed, what type of training, like what do we owe the Commonwealth in their guidance or their supervision of this grant?
Great question. Yeah, we will provide regular reporting. You may remember we had a community compact grant last year or the year before that was through the Human Resources Office, and that was for customer service training. And so we provided reports back to them, more statistical reports on the number of people that were trained and what the training consisted of. I think not only because of the size of this grant, but because of the scope, I anticipate providing more regular updates and that will result in some sort of report or tangible result that we can both share with all of you and with the Commonwealth.
And what's the time frame? When do we expect, after approval, when we expect to have those consultants hired and the training and these processes underway?
As soon as possible. As I said, Jane is already working on a scope that we can then put out and seek consultants to respond. I believe the grant period is 2 years, but I'll double check on that. But we hope to, because we're already preparing, as you know, next year's budget, both the city and the schools, and we have a round of negotiations. All of the contracts on the city side expire June 30th, so having this assistance is time sensitive.
Okay. Well, it's a great program. Any additional training that the city can receive on these processes, will be a benefit to all of us. So thank you, Ms. McNulty, for your work on this matter and for your office as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else?
Motion to recommend favorably?
Second.
A motion has been properly made and second to recommend this item favorably to the entire City Council. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? It carries. That's the end of it.
That's it?
Councilor Fowler.
Just for the ordinance committee members, pardon me, meeting at 6 p.m. here at the council chamber on Wednesday, the 8th. This Wednesday, 6 p.m. ordinance committee meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I guess this is the last of our meeting, and the first for the year, but the last of the last term. So we're expecting everybody to be here on the 13th. There's going to be some new faces sitting in different places. Just a recommendation, if you could, just clear the spaces around your seats unless you are going to be sitting on the same seat coming next term. Clean that up so that we don't have somebody else's stuff all the way around. Not having any further business of this city council or the residents of the city, the meeting is adjourned.